so much. What's everybody watching right now? I'll start with Peter Schiff.
Well, I was just watching your interview with Mark Zandi, and again, it typifies what's wrong with the economic thinking. This stimulus is actually a depressant. And, according to Mark, an economy grows because people spend money. He's got it completely backwards. He's got the cart before the horse. An economy grows because of production, and production is made possible by savings. And so what we need to stimulate the economy is more savings, which leads to more production. We don't want more spending. We don't want the government spending money. We don't want consumers spending money. They've spent too much. Unfortunately, the act in the short run of not spending is going to mean that we're going to have a more severe recession right now. But it's extremely necessary because we're broke. This stimulus bill, all the infrastructure spending, we are too broke. We can't afford to spend money on infrastructure. That doesn't improve the economy. You need a productive economy to afford infrastructure. We can't afford it right now. We need to build factories. We need to make stuff. And the only way we're going to do that...
We need people to buy the stuff that we're making?
No, we need to sell the stuff abroad. Americans have too much stuff. We've been buying stuff for years we couldn't afford. We need to pay back our bills. We need to get out of this hole. We need to make stuff and export it. That's what we need to do.
Listen, I do agree with so much of that. Robert Gray.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like George Carlin. I need a place for my stuff. But anyway, I'm watching the home builders up here, Liz. They're getting a jump here. Barclays Global Fund Advisors, by the way, announcing they've taken stakes in a number of them, including Beazer, Syntex, D.R. Horton here. Passive stakes. So we're talking about, sort of 8% stakes in these companies. Pretty sizable, these coming from SEC filings.
Yeah, look at those home builders today. Sandra Smith, what are you watching right now?
Yeah, Liz, when it comes down to it, these retail sales numbers for January were dismal indeed, but some of these retailers are rocking right now. Taking a look at Walmart, Target, Macy's, all three of these companies beat expectations. They're definitely finding a way to get that penny pension consumer through the door. Why? How big sales? You've seen the signs out there.
That's the last thing we want. We want to keep the consumers at home. We don't want them going back to the stores. We don't want them opening up their wallets and reaching for their credit cards. They need to put their money in the bank.
Peter, unemployment may go, if we do allow that, to 14, 15%.
It's going to go higher if we interfere. The only way we're going to have productive employment is to allow the private sector to create it. We don't want jobs so we can work. We need productive jobs. Everybody in the Soviet Union had a job. They all worked for the government, and they were all flat broke. We're headed in the same direction. You guys are watching things in the market. You ought to watch gold. Look at gold today, up another $15. I think around $920 an ounce. It's not going to be below 1,000 for long. And if we keep pursuing these policies, it's going to 5,000. It could go higher.
You're buying gold stocks, gold miners, all of these.
Yeah, interesting. The gold stocks, a lot of the gold stocks I own got clobbered in about 6 months towards the end of 2008. But many of those gold stocks in the last 2 months have tripled and quadrupled. There's actually gold stocks now making 52-week highs. There's not that many stocks that are doing that. So people are figuring out that this is an inflationary plan.
The only difference between salad and garbage is timing. Timing the gold buy. I'm in it. The closing bell is ringing in 19 minutes.
What's the plan?
Okay, hold on. Here we go. This is the tape of Tim Geithner, Treasury Secretary, just in. Let's listen.
Nice to see you all. This is the first meeting of the President's Working Group on Financial Markets since President Obama was elected and took office. This, as you know, is a critically important group. It brings together in one place, around one table, the most important institutions that oversee our financial system. Together, this group has the authorities and instruments and experience and talent that are going to be critical to helping solve the deep financial problems facing our country. We're going to do two things today. Our agenda is to begin to shape the architecture of a financial recovery plan that'll help get credit flowing again and help reinforce the recovery and reinvestment plan now working its way through the Congress. But we also want to use this opportunity to begin the process of shaping a consensus on a comprehensive reform of our financial system, so that neither the U.S. economy or the global financial system ever again faces a crisis of this magnitude. So I'm very pleased to be here together with this group of people. President believes this group is very important, recognizes the importance of these set of institutions, and we're going to have to do this together, working closely together, not just in the United States, but with countries around the world. Thank you very much.
Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke, Sheila Bair, Larry Summers, and a whole host of people right next to Timothy Geithner, the new Treasury Secretary, who just said that the agenda will be taking shape. They are putting together the architecture of a financial recovery plan. They're trying to shape a consensus on fixing our financial world. Let's get everybody's reaction. Peter Schiff.
They ought to dismantle this committee, every committee the government has. They ought to fire every government economist. None of these guys are going to make the situation better. They're only going to make it worse. And you mentioned earlier about the banks and the FDIC. The FDIC is broke. The government's going to have to print money to pay off the depositors, which means the depositors are going to get their money, but the money is going to be absolutely worthless when they get it. So big deal. It doesn't matter if you get your money out of the bank, but then you take it to the grocery store and you can't buy anything.
Are you still living in Connecticut?
I am, but I'm stocking up. And I'm getting a dog.
To protect the property.
Yes.
I got my tent and my shotgun. Sandra Smith.
Well, Liz, he hit the nail on the head, in my opinion. I mean, he's focusing on the fact that this is not a crisis just here in the United States. Tim Geithner is saying that they're going to work closely with other countries on this recovery. This is a global crisis, and it's good to hear.
Robert Gray.
Yeah, they're showing, a force of one, if you will, getting together to try and instill some confidence here. Not working with Peter Schiff, perhaps working with some investors, at least today, that they are getting together on the same page. We'll see what happens when they actually do more than just get together and talk a little bit.
They've got to do something.
Yeah, they should get out of the way. They should cut back on government. Government is the problem. Bad monetary policy got us into this mess. Excess regulation. We need to allow the market to function again. Unfortunately, we have to let our economy, we have to rebuild a solid foundation. We can't try to prop up the phony economy that's collapsed.
Do you agree that with the Republicans who say we need way more tax cuts in this plan?
Well, I'd like to have tax cuts, but we can't afford them. We need spending cuts first. If the government will stop spending, then they can stop taxing. But just to cut taxes and then print the difference, that's more inflation. That's more of the problem. We need a cure.
And what is the final cure after we have let everything shake out? Because the way you talk, there would be sheer bloodletting.
Well, there's going to be bloodletting based on what the government is doing. Ultimately, we're going to have a real choice to make in this country. Do we completely destroy our currency and have hyperinflation, not just high inflation like we had in the 1970s, but real German Weimar Republic-style hyperinflation where we're carting our money around in wheelbarrows? If we don't want to have that, then we're going to have to do the exact opposite of what we're doing now. We're going to have to bite the bullet. We're going to have to raise interest rates, and we're going to have to let companies go out of business, let banks fail, and let this country go back to work.
Volcker's there. Didn't he do that?
He can't. He's not doing that now. I mean, Volcker doesn't even have the power to raise interest rates like they did in 1980. They did the right thing back then. They're doing the exact wrong thing right now. At some point, Volcker's going to have to resign, or his reputation is going to go down with the economy.
Sales of German Shepherds are going up as we speak, protecting the property. That's what you're getting. How did I know that? Peter Schiff of Euro Pacific Capital, thank you for joining us today. We're 6 minutes from the close. Let me throw it for our